I want to welcome everyone back to Real Natives, the archive. We're archiving our story. And today's guest that we're having is coming to you all the way from Round Valley, California. So go ahead and introduce yourself, sister. Who are you? Your name, tribe affiliation, and as they would say in the native world, who are your people? Oh,
Who are you people? Oh, thanks, Al. My name is Michelle Merrifield. I'm from the Round Valley Reservation in Northern California, the town of Covelo, California. And my people are grandparents are on my mom's side is Vivian and Bill Frazier, and on my dad's side is Everett and Ernestine Merrifield. So on my mom's side, we're Nomalaki, Concow, Little Lake, and on my dad's side, the family were from the northern Eel River, Wailakis. So all the way up from, say, um, Island Mountain, north of the valley of Covelo here of Round Valley. So yeah, I always had to. I feel like I need to correct people on the history of some stuff because this valley was a holding spot for when the troops came in and herded all the tribal people here from the different outlying areas. This valley was mostly inhabited, by the indigenous Yuki people. So all the other tribes, the seven tribes, well, there was actually probably about 12 or 13 tribes that got herded in here from the troops, the invaders we call them, back in the 1800s. So I try to help people, educate them of where our people really came from. It's not from this valley. We're just got placed here from, I'm fourth generation here, from my family, that was herded from the mountain area. So I just like to educate people, just give them that knowledge, and so they could pass it on to others as well.
what was it like growing up on or off the res, they would say?
Yeah. So we've lived here since I was born over in Willows, California, over on I-5 in that area. And then my dad, so his family's always been here in the valley, his mom and dad and grandparents and whatnot. So 55 now, so I've pretty much been here all my life since 1970s when my younger sister was born. So yeah, uh, this valley is beautiful. I will always call it my home. I'm a lifer here. I'm always probably going to stay here. Just it means that much to me. Um, but when I was younger, we there was a lot more stuff for us kids to do. We were stayed outside more. We did a lot of visiting with elders, and had a lot of dinners, with the families. All the families came together for big dinners, big birthday parties, celebrations, funerals, the whole everything. Everybody was really connected back then. Everybody knew who everybody was, all the kids, we knew who we were related to. Um, and just we just knew all our people, and took care of each other. So I just remember that part of being here on the res. As I got older, we moved out to Ukiah. My dad got a teaching job in Ukiah at the Ukiah High, and so we moved out. And so I've kind of been out of the valley for 30 years working, but I've always come back, every weekend. This is, like I said, this is my permanent home, so I always come back. So I would lived off the res, in Ukiah, and just started working, finished high school and started working. So there's a lot of years I missed off of the reservation, but I still came back and tried to be connected with, all my people and, my classmates from here, from when we were in grade school and whatnot. So I even went to school with Matt Kendall. That's our Mendocino County Sheriff. So yeah, so it was living on the res. This is my spot. I love it here. We have a ranch here that I was raised up on. We were raised with my dad raised my younger sister and I, how to survive. I know I say try to be like boys, but it's just a survival thing. He taught us how to hunt, fish, gut, skin, process the deer meat, make jerky, cook it, the fish, guts, fillet it, all the stuff. So he taught my sister and I how to really, survival skills, and um, we always had a fresh garden, everything garden, herb garden. Um, Everything was fresh, the corn, the melons, tomatoes, cucumbers. I mean, and then my mom, she was always into growing flowers, and that's just helps your your overall being of, you're getting fresh vegetables and enjoying your garden, and then you have a beautiful flower garden as well. And that was how I was raised. I was really taught how to take care of myself and survive, and just really enjoy working with mother nature and the dirt and the soil, and make that connection, so.
Growing up on the reservation, a lot of us native people, we fall into the trap of alcohol or drug addictions. Have you ever experienced any of that? And if you have, can you share a little bit about the path that you may have gone down, and let the people know how you came out of it?
Yeah, there's I mean, our family, on both sides are kind of like, had alcoholism. Um, and I heard stories of some elders that I didn't meet, but they would drink rubbing alcohol because it said alcohol on it. I mean, that's how bad they were, and just died of cirrhosis, early age and stuff. And um, so we knew about that growing up in the valley. Um, but I, of course, being teenage year, that's when I, started experimenting with cigarettes first, and then the alcohol. And and I was getting it from my older cousins, because that was cute that we'd be all drinking, and so that was that kind of setting. um so then I did okay, you know um when we moved out of the valley. And then as I got older, I met with some friends down there, some work, my the people I work with, they were drinkers and partiers, and so I started partying with them and drinking more. And so it got to be a problem. I got arrested a couple times, and so that was like giving me some signs, not good. They got to pay all these fines and deal the court stuff, and and I did it. And I was like, you know why am I getting in trouble? I'm a good person. I'm just out here having fun, just with my friends. And creator was like, nope, this is not what we have planned for you. And he was showing me the way it was being difficult, and it was not fun drinking, because I would always get in trouble. So um so I was out there for a while. And I never really got into drugs. It was mostly alcohol. And um I got in trouble enough where I was in those AA meetings, and I think something was just telling me that I knew I didn't belong there, and the people that were there were super angry, and I couldn't figure out why they were angry, because I thought I was having fun drinking. I kind of enjoyed it. We were having a good time, but I just kept getting in trouble. um, anyways, so then I heard these guys speaking in their AAs, and they were really, uh, I mean, really mad at life. And I was thinking, I don't think I'm mad at life. I don't, so I was just trying to connect the dots with myself. Why was I drinking? Why was I thinking that was important for me to do? And my friends started falling off. They weren't being friends with me anymore. So, I mean, there were just these little signs just kind of lead me to, that wasn't a good path. And, and so then I started talking to some counselors, and one of them was Dino Franklin from down in Ukiah. He works with the Pinoleville Voc Rehab, And I didn't want to talk to him because I thought that meant the end of my drinking because I knew it was something about him. I knew he was going to help me, but I didn't know at the time talking to him and stuff. And so I don't know, there's just something just spiritual about that man because he just had the right words, what you needed to hear. He was tough love, he was he just told it to you straight. He didn't hide anything. He told you what your future was going to look like if you kept going this way. And I mean, you can't really predict that, but it's really not a happy ending, and we know because we've seen a lot of our tribal people. They ended their life, or they crashed and ended their life, or cirrhosis or other drugs. So you pretty much can see where that's going to lead you if you stay there. Um, so anyways, I just went to counselors and I kept talking to them and they were like, "Well, why are you drinking?" And I couldn't give them a good answer. So I was like, "Yeah, why am I drinking?" And in both of my family, they're Christian, and they went to the Methodist church here in Round Valley. And that church has been there since 1857, I believe. Um, and so we just been going to church. I got baptized in there, and so it's been like our family church, I guess, if you have it that way. We had Christmas. I mean, everything in there: Christmas, you name it. Easter, all the stuff, and funerals, of course, and family dinners and whatnot. So I went to the church for most of all my life, or just being there, and something wasn't really connecting with me. I was like, I don't want to sing these songs, but I'll sing them, just because I'm here. It just something wasn't really connecting. So when I was sober and I was working in the program with Dino Franklin, I um I I was able to stay sober. So I was kind of just working on myself and just going to work, and I kept my jobs and stuff, and so that was important. And um so then uh so then I got asked by an old friend if I would want to try a sweat lodge, and I'm like, sure, I'll try anything once, I guess. So I ended up in Laytonville going to a sweat lodge. Um, I I don't know why it took me so long. I mean, it was only about 12, 12 years ago was my first sweat lodge, and I'm like I said, I don't know why I didn't think about it before, because I just, well, my family, just go back for a second. We're mostly horseback riders, and we did all cowboy stuff and ranch stuff with cattle and whatnot. So I didn't do our native stuff. I didn't do any of the songs. I still don't know my native language. Um, and I didn't do the dancing and all the stuff, and I didn't go to the ceremonies and roundhouses and stuff. And my dad did take us to powwows up in um, Oregon and stuff like that, and so we knew about that part of our native peoples, but not our local tribes, right? So, anyways, so back to when I got into the sweat lodge, I I mean, the lights came on, everything just clicked. That was where I was supposed to be, and that's where everything made sense to me. I connected back with Mother Earth. Everything in my DNA woke up and just was like, there, hello, Michelle. Yeah, there you are. you know, and that's why I say, that all our native people, our indigenous DNA to make that connection with Mother Earth is there. And if you're struggling and stuff, it just has to be waking up. It's asleep inside you, and you just have to make that connection for yourself to wake it up and recognize it and embrace it. And like I said, it just was like, I mean, I never went back ever since I got in the sweat lodge. I didn't even think about drinking at all. I didn't want to poison my body anymore. I felt purified. I felt all these emotions just came pouring through me, and that was it. I was hooked ever since. And so I've been clean and sober, over 13 years, or around 13 years. And so I just I kind of credit, just being in the sweat lodge that really, drove it home for me to just say hello, hello to yourself again.
Thank you for that. If there was one word to describe Round Valley, what word would you use?
So coming into this valley as a stronghold for me. It always has been. That's why I said it's my home. It's our people's home. Even though some people, if you talk to them, they want to say it was a concentration camp because they herded all the tribal people here. Well, even though that terrible history of us, we still survived together here. And that's our stronghold because we were able to overcome that. We're still resilient of that. And that's what this valley stands for me, that we're a strong nation of people. And even though this is, I mean, this valley is so beautiful, it offers everything you could imagine here. I mean, you got your the waters, the mountains, the trees, the acorns. um I mean, it's very giving of what you put into it. And so if some of our native people died on this area, that's what comes up through us to being that stronghold. So that's my word for it is, it's a place that I find refuge, out there in the city life, or even in Ukiah's, growing so much. But this is a place to really come up and look at the stars and take a deep breath and feel Mother Nature come all the way through your body, your soul.
Next question I have for you is who do you want to say thank you to help you become the woman you are, to help you get back on the straight and narrow path?
Creator, of course, is very thankful, and uh to my parents, for showing me everything that I need to show, to go forward with my life. Of course, Dino, I mentioned him already, that was a sanctuary for me, that he probably doesn't even know that he does stuff like that, but he should anyways. And then a couple, their name is Paula and Larry Fugman. And Larry Fugman was my first grade teacher here at Round Valley Elementary. But they've been a family here in the valley, and they're Jewish family. And they came to this valley. I'm not sure how they came here. I'll have to get their story, but they landed here in this valley, probably teaching, young teachers and stuff. And they wanted to be here. They wanted to be in this valley. It was beautiful to them. It drew them here, and they wanted to be with the native kids and help teach, and give them an education, that is, that everybody deserves, and should have that opportunity. And but the way they did stuff is just, they were so loving and caring, and I felt like they were my parents sometimes, that they were that loving and caring as teachers. So I give them, a lot of kudos on that, and I'll always remember them for that too. So, and they still live here. Yep.
I got two more questions for you, and then we'll wrap it up. So the next question I have for you would be any words of wisdom to the next generation, the future generation, any words of encouragement, any words of wisdom, anything you would like to say to them?
Find out who your families are, on both sides. Talk to some elders that are still, our elders are leaving us, so it's important to get your history of your family, um, and just that I think, words of wisdom is that, our tribal people kind of like, I don't know, made a sacrifice, and so that we're here today. But to not forget that, not forget where you're from, not forget where your stronghold is, We always say don't forget your people, but what does that really mean to each of us individually? Because we got a lot of stuff that happens in our families, and there's a lot of just disconnection a lot, but find out who you are for real, and what would you like to give back, and like you said, when you ask that question as well, what would you want to be remembered for? That's something that's real. I mean, that's a reality, is like, we want to make a mark on this, on Mother Earth, just like how my grandparents are, and that's why I remember them, because they made a mark. They made um they were here for a reason. They were, they taught me something. I learned something from them. Um and some of that wasn't all good. It wasn't all good, because it was pretty sad, what our grandparents and what their parents went through, because in that generation, that was when the invaders took the children away from the parents and to boarding schools. So there's that trauma still there, that's that needs to, I don't say forgiven, but just learn about. But like I said, when I was talking about the stronghold, that we are resilient and we're here, and we live both worlds. We live in the white man's world, and we live in our native cultural world, with our cultural resources, with our indigenous knowledge, and our DNA is in us. That river is running through our veins. Those mountains, the trees, everything is still in our veins, as our indigenous people. No matter what tribe you come from, we're still connected to that. And my dad's always told me, and I don't remember my great grand saying this, but she was an advocate for the native kids to get their education and learn, the white man's way. And she would say that to him. She said, learn everything you can about the white man and more, but don't forget who you are and where you came from. And that's like, those are words of wisdom, right? I was like, yeah, let's get it. Yeah.
When I met you up there in Round Valley, you are working with the youth and working with the organization. You want to give a little description of what you were doing in detail of helping out the community. That's very important.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a great program. It was a grant called Native Way. And Mudcat and I were working on that. We got in the last year it was funded, so we didn't get a I mean, we did a lot of stuff, but it was like short lived. Wish it would have gone on longer. So that program offered to offer the native kids, and I chose to invite all the kids. I could not separate them. I mean, we have Mexican families here now. White families have been here, and some black families have been here, and so we're a mixed culture in this valley. And so me, I'm inviting everybody. I'm not going to leave anybody out. And so, and I believe also that to have the other cultures know about our native history, and what we do and what we use most of our natural resources for, the food, the gathering, the baskets, the beadwork, the feathers, the hides. I mean, we use a lot of stuff, and maybe they didn't. And so I'm just like, did you know you can use all these? Um, but the program really helped with the kids. They would, gave them an opportunity to know some woodwork. Um, took some wood classes from this guy, John Canan. He's been here a very long time as well, and he's in his 80s. And he told me he's got a lot of knowledge of woodwork, wood crafting. Both like carpentry, to just really nice, cool designs. And he makes little trinkets and, all kinds of stuff with wood. And he's in his 80s. And he said, I want to pass my knowledge on to the youth who's willing to learn. And so I'm like, yeah, that's exactly it. Pass on your knowledge, so that, somebody could to learn about it. And I always say, try anything once. And so, because you don't know if that might be something that is really, you could really take off with that. That's your niche, that you like working with wood, or you like working with jewelry, or you like working with the feathers or carving. But that program was really great for that, and it gave us a lot of opportunity to do that with the children. There was a gardening class, the basket, the skirt sewing, and I don't think Mud would get mad, but he sews. I mean, he just had somebody show him how to use that sewing machine, and he does the belts, and some regalia for the guys. And and what I'm saying that is because sewing's not just for women. I mean, a lot of guys in the early 60s and stuff, they made a lot of leather shoes, and that's sewing. So, and that's a job. I mean, you know how to make your own shoes and sell them and all this stuff. So, but it just was giving the kids different opportunity to try something, drum making, beadwork, the basket weaving. And we had some of the Mexican kids, with us, and they loved it. And I don't know if they're still doing it, but at least they got a chance to try it. And that's all I ask people to do, is just try something. And and see for yourself if you like it. And you could, and these kids flourished. They did great. They weren't even on their phones. I was impressed. Um and the teachers that we hired to show the kids how to do some of the beadwork. And of course, Mud was doing the top notch with the feathers and stuff. The kids, they just learned. I mean, they were easy stuff to do. And they stayed right with it and finished it. So I was very proud of them all. And I just, I hope to have more of those programs up here. And like you saw for yourself, everybody was visiting. We had a good time. We offered food, drinks, games, and and everybody just had a great time. I felt, just loved it. So,
At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, Michelle, when they say your name, when we're on that spiritual journey, what do you want to be remembered for? Oh,
oh wow. Geez, I guess I just want to remember for helping the people, and what I was able to do with them. I'm not going to just tell somebody how to do something and not and sit back. I get my hands dirty and get in the dirt and sweat it out with them too, because I don't know. I don't like the struggle, but sometimes that's where we get our lessons from, some of that struggle. But at least there's somebody there, the light at the end of the tunnel that will help you once you go through something. Um, I don't know. I felt like I struggled a lot by myself, but I still had help. Um, and somebody was always helping me. And I mean, the people that I named that helped me out were, just because, they've been in my life a long time. But there was a lot of people that helped me out along the way. And I feel like if I can do that for somebody, to help them with whatever, going out to lunch, just giving them some water. I mean, just, it could be something real small or something really big. And money's not it. Money's not something that's going to, money helps, but it doesn't make you happy and where you need to be with yourself, and set with yourself spiritually. If you make that connection spiritually, you will, everything starts looking better. It will get better for you. And nothing's going to get in your way if you see that goal. And I was at a roundhouse over in Grindstone one time, and that's my people over there too, Nomlakis, Grindstone. And um, this guy, this gentleman, I don't remember his name. He was talking to all of us, and he said, when you leave this earth and you go up to see your creator, and he asks you, what have you done for your people? What are you going to tell him? Because that's the ultimate person that you need to, or not person, but spirit that you need to ask, that of yourself anyways. What did I do for my people while I was here? And I don't want to be gone and miss that. And so, and like I say, when you're in your addictions, or that sickness, or that area, that you're not spiritually connected, it felt like a waste of a lot of time. And like I said, I'm 55, and I don't want to waste any more time. I really want to help my people, want to be there for the youth. The youth, uh they're so important, to keep going, for us, for our generation, for our people, for our indigenous people, for our cultural preservation. We're here to protect and preserve Mother Nature and our culture. And like Mud says, our culture is prevention of that. If we just do our culture, we have everything. We have all the riches. We have it made. That's what I said. If we taught everybody that, they would want that as well. But they go away from it, and you can start feeling that disconnection. And the trees suffer. The acorns, they start rotting, and you get the bugs. And I mean, there's a whole, I try to educate everybody on the whole cycle of life. And if you don't use something, it'll go away. So, but I just want to be remembered that, I was a go-getter, a helper, somebody, that is willing to do, and go through the muck with somebody to get where they need to go. So
Thank you. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day. It's going to get pretty warm up there
yeah.
fairly short. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And if you haven't, go ahead, like and subscribe, support your favorite native out there. Go watch and leave a comment if you like. And if there's
Yeah.
anybody out there that wants to share their story, anyone out there, we do have different genres. It's about reservation, incarceration, civilization, rehabilitation, culture preservation. Those are just talking points. But if there's somebody out there that want to tell a prison story, there's somebody out there that want to tell a native story, anybody out there want to tell a street story, anyone out there that want to do any shorts, go ahead and you can contact me, Big Sal at Big Sal 75 at iCloud.com. With that being said, I want to thank you, Michelle, for joining us, and everybody have a great day. Oh,